Good day, everyone. This is Belwinder Marwaha, your transformational leadership coach, alongside with Spencer Bonin, certified emotion code and body code practitioner. Um, we are here talking about expectations this week and just ways you can release your expectations. Um, as I mentioned yesterday, expectations can prevent us from, experiencing happiness or joy, or they bring a lot of discouragement or sadness sometimes. So we really want to talk about how we can get away with that. And I want to start with the subconscious side with Spencer, and he'll talk about how we can see through a child's eyes, or when we see with a child's eyes, what happens.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And I'm really excited to see what we talk about on the conscious side today too. But as far as the subconscious side today, I'm gonna start to talk about something that maybe some of you know about, maybe you don't know about, but it's something called the inner child, and it really plays a really big role in what we're talking about here, especially with expectations, because if you have an unhappy inner child, you know, when that happens, it's very hard or a lot more challenging to see through the lens of your inner child or through childlike eyes. And with this, it's so important, or can be very very profound, by reconnecting with that inner child, because it's going to help you be able to go through these eyes. And Ballwinder, you're going to talk about what these eyes are a little bit later. But first I want to talk about what is the inner child, right? So the inner child is actually you. It's a separate piece of you technically, but it kind of develops in your subconscious when we decide to grow up. It's when our older self kind of somewhat abandons our younger self, and it's a separate
Mhm.
chunk of our subconscious that kind of breaks off. It's separate, it's still there, but
Yeah.
it's when we decided to physically, separate. Okay, I can't be this, I can't be like this anymore, I got to do with all this other
Mhm.
stuff and have all the responsibilities of life, and we start to kind of do that. Now that's a lot younger for some people, a lot older for other
Yeah.
people. But the really important question is what happens as a result of the inner child, or an unhappy inner child. So
Mhm.
in general, if you have um, an unhappy inner child, it's a lot harder to act like a kid. I mean, there's some adults out there who love being like a kid, right? Like they're
Yeah.
laughing, they're cracking jokes all the time, they're doing silly things, maybe they play video games, they have a lot of fun
Mhm.
with their kids, they don't have a lot of expectations. But when you have a really unhappy inner child, it's really really challenging to do that. You feel like things are just going to turn out negative. You automatically
Yeah.
have this filter, like we talked about yesterday, of the world, of how things are just not going to work out properly. You have these negative expectations
Mhm.
in a lot of things that you do. And what's really really interesting about the unhappy inner child in the healing world is that even with this amazing modality of body code, emotion code, or any other modality out there, if you have an unhappy inner child, what it actually does in the healing world is that you there's two things that really happen. The first thing is when you do get a session done or get some sort of healing done, nothing really changes. It's just kind of stagnant. You don't really do anything, because it's like your inner child is like, no, I don't want you to heal, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what your inner child is doing. And it's the same thing, but even more extreme cases, and I've seen this, is where people have such an unhappy inner child where the kid's doing this. And what happens is when you work on symptoms, the symptoms actually tend to get worse. And what's really, really neat is when you start to work with your inner child, the stuff that you work on seems to just get better when you go in and focus on making that inner child happy. You have
That's
better expectations, you have a lot more fun, your body heals like it should properly heal. So and here's a couple of ways that you can help really develop and create a better relationship with this inner child. So first and foremost, body code sessions. It's a really really awesome way. You can actually go in there and have like a separate session on just your inner child to make them happy. So body code sessions. Meditation is extremely helpful. You can actually, if you can get into that meditative state, we're going to put meditation video either in the comments or the description. So then that way you can kind of connect with your inner child. And so that's a really, really powerful way. And then the third thing is make a list of things that you used to love to do. And then do those things on the list, because that's going to help you reconnect. It's going to help you do the things that you used to love to do. And it might open your world to a few things that you should continue to do these days, because if your younger self loved it, guaranteed your newer, older self is going to love it too. So that's my part on the subconscious. What would you say as far as conscious stuff goes for, seeing things through childlike wonder?
Yes. So thank you for that, Spencer. The inner child was very big when I connected with it for the first time. It really moved me, and it was a big shift for me. So if you've never connected with your inner child, it's crazy, the feeling and the joy. And I literally for 2 days I had a smile on my face, a permanent smile on my face. It was pretty cool. Um, so, but okay, so seeing through a child's eyes. If here's a few things. Everyone's heard the saying that, or you've heard that, children are like sponges. They can absorb so much. Well, part of the reason they can absorb so much and they're like sponges is because they go in with no expectations. They go in with an unknown. They just go in with no filter, nothing blocking them, nothing preventing them. And they just go in. And for kids, it's all about what? Having fun. And like, you see kids, and my kids, you get to an age where kids are like, oh, I don't want to go to school. But
Mm,
until a certain age, man, they're so excited to go to school. They're all like, I can't wait. Oh man, this break was terrible for my kids. Like they absolutely missed all their friends. They missed going to school because it's fun. There's no expectation. They're going there with the expectation that everything is just going to be fun, and the learning is fun. And you get to a point where you start to develop expectations as you get older, and sometimes those are planted by parents, or they're planted from within ourselves or society. And that's when the fun stops happening, and that's when disappointment starts, that's when discouragement starts, that's when kids start saying, oh, I don't want to do this, or I was playing the sport but I want to quit now, because of those expectations. So when you really think, trying to see through a child's eyes is going in with a clear mind. Don't have any side of kind of expectation, or results in mind. Don't think that, okay, when I go there, this is what's going to happen, or this is the end result. Don't have that. Go in with a totally clear mind. Go in with the expectation, or not even, I'm using the expectation word there. Look, I caught myself. Go in with, I'm going to have fun. Let me make the best of this. Let me make the most of it. Let me take as much as I can from it.
yeah.
And that way you're not having an expectation. You don't have this thing that, okay, when I go there, this is what's going to happen, and this is how I'm
Mm,
going to handle it. So really focus on seeing through a child's eyes and acting more like a kid. And if you have a tough time acting like a kid, then you need to connect with your inner child and work more on your inner child.
yeah.
And that will really, really help. And one of the things I will say about inner child is that the more troubled, or the more issues or problems you had growing up, the more your inner child is probably upset or disappointed. And
Hmm.
that's where you need to really kindle that relationship and work with them. And
Yeah.
once you start working with that inner child and rekindle that relationship, start doing the things you did when you loved as a kid, your whole view, your perspective will change. It's absolutely crazy. And that meditation Spencer talked about, I
Yeah.
highly recommend you do it. It will absolutely move you. Um, it is very, very incredible. So
Yeah.
I hope that gives you some ideas as to how you can look through a child's lens, and how you can really, go into places like a sponge and just absorb and have fun, and experience life without the expectations, whether
Yeah.
it's an event, relationships, anything. So, with that said, Spencer, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, not at all. The one thing that I would say is kind of like what I was going back to before, like the three different ways to connect. Like I said, you have, because yes, body code sessions are important, but there are those two things, meditation and doing the things that your inner child used to love, like those two things alone are incredible. You don't have to run to a body code session right now. We're trying to give you things that you can do right now to start changing that situation. And body code is just to kind of go above and beyond there if you want to do that. And like we said in previous videos, if you're wanting to do something like that, you can connect with me. If you want to do like a separate complimentary coaching session, you can go with Balwinder. Mine's complimentary as well, by the way. I didn't say that, but complimentary coaching or healing. So we're here for you if you need anything. We are 100% open to doing that and would love to be able to help you. So with that, if you want to find out more about what Bally and I do here, where we're kind of combining the subconscious training with the conscious transformational leadership training all into one, you can find out more on our website here, insideoutcoachingprogram.com, where you can watch a couple of amazing videos to find out a little bit more about what's going on, and then just connect with us. On top of that, every single week we have an incredible webinar where we talk about how we can recover from 2020. Quite frankly, 2020 has been a little bit of an interesting year so far. So this webinar is really designed to show you how you can overcome the challenges that have come and set your life up for the future, emotionally, financially, any kind of way you can think of. It's just incredible. So check that out. Aside from that, if you have any ideas for different videos of what you'd like to see us talk about, or you're going through a challenge or whatever it is, interact with us, throw a comment down. Let us know what's going on in your life and how we can help and how we can present something to really assist with whatever's going on in your life. Aside from that, that's all I would say. And I think that's going to be it for today. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope you guys have a phenomenal day, and we will see you tomorrow for day 3, I believe. So
Yes.
take care.
Thank you.
See ya.
Take care.